Yo, how's it going, everyone? And welcome back to FriggHome, transforming your everyday life with DePINs and innovation. My name is Ice, and I'll be your host for today's show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor to finally have the opportunity to speak with this man face to face. Well, sort of. We had our very first Twitter space together last week, and after chatting with him further, it became very obvious to us that this was a story worth sharing to the entire world. So, without further ado, please welcome the co-founder and CEO of FriggHome. What's going on, Axel? How you doing today, man?
Hey everyone, I'm feeling very good and very excited. It's our first live stream today on FriggHome. Thanks for hosting us, Ice. I'm very excited for this conversation.
Likewise, man. Likewise. We had an amazing conversation last week during the Twitter space, but just in case, I want to make sure that everything that we talk about today is concurrent and up to date, so that way our viewers can keep up with the conversation as well. So, we talked a lot about your history and your kind of your work and background, but can we actually just maybe follow up on that a little bit? Tell us a little bit about your work history in Web2 before the blockchain journey began.
Yeah, sure. So I first did business school. And yeah, I did 3 years of business school. I didn't get graduated because I couldn't speak Spanish. And they say in order to do international business, you should speak Spanish. So I didn't get graduated because I was in the English team, not in the Spanish team. And after that, I decided to do my own thing. So I did some business in marketing. I founded the first business that I failed because well, we were centralized in one processor of payment, and this processor banned us. Like many, if you just look on Trustpilot, you type Stripe, and you will see many bad reviews. It's a good tech, but there is bad reviews. So I got banned, and I understood how centralization can ruin your business. Second business, which was a marketing agency, it was making me good money. It was scaling, etc. But I choose to stop it in order to be full time on FriggHome. Because when I do something, I do it 100% or 0%.
Mhm. I like that mentality, man. It's weird, right? It's weird that in Web 2 there's this saying that oh, you have to be a wearer of multiple hats. You got to be a jack of all trades, but when it really comes down to it, I feel like the opposite it kind of takes precedence in Web 3. You really have to be a master of your craft. Like I can't just be 20% like 5 times. I really have to double down or try penta down and really just be 100% on the thing that I do. So, I'm right there with you in that mentality, man. And last week when we spoke, Axel, you mentioned that back in 2018 or 2019, actually, it was actually your father that came up with the idea to create the connected objects of the future. And I would love to actually get some more clarity on that because over time, it seemed like this became the origin story of FriggHome. So if we take a really quick trip down memory lane, Axel, can you walk us through the initial vision and mission that your father was setting out on?
Man, yeah, it brings up some very good memories. So back in 2019, my dad came to me and say, "Oh, Axel, I found the perfect opportunity." He looked at some unexplored market. I mean, it's not the first market you look into when you're an entrepreneur, which is smart devices. Okay, it's smart devices before the AI trend, everything like this, and yeah, so he saw that there is a lot of IoT on the market, and he thought that he could do it better. So I'm talking about especially the smart lock. On the smart lock, he thought that he could do it better, and yeah. So after this, in 2020, I initiate him into the crypto world. I said, "Dad, you're a libertarian. This is somewhere you want to go," and yeah, he just had this idea of transforming IoT into BOT. So he was one of the first person that has this idea of what if instead of connecting an object to internet, we connect it to blockchain. So it's much more secured. It prevents some hack. It prevents from data leaking, etc. So it really started like this. And in 2021, I would say that my dad filed for a worldwide patent on this precise technology. So it was very serious. My dad is like me. I said it earlier. if I do something, it's 100% or 0%. It's go hard or go home. And my dad is exactly the same. I mean, he's my dad. It's more like I'm the same as him. So yeah, so in 2021 he filled this patent, and in 2023, I believe, he came to me. I was doing my marketing stuff, as I said earlier. He came to me and said, "Hey, son, what if we team up so we can make my project alive?" And we sat down. He explained me what's going on, and yeah, I found that it was pretty cool. So we gathered a Maverick team, and yeah, in 2024 we raised funds, and here we go. Now we are doing some lives on Twitter.
Wow. So your dad actually went to you and said, "Hey, son, let's. What if we actually got together and teamed up?" It's very fascinating to me because with my Asian heritage and my family and all that, it was always the opposite. Our parents never came to us and be like, "Hey, son, I need your help." It was always always the opposite. It was always the children going to our parents and asking for help. So the juxtaposition that you really described there, it makes me really happy because man, this is like the life that I never got to live. Like imagine my dad or whoever in my family actually coming me to seek my expertise for help. Wow, that must have been a phenomenal moment for you, Axel. And like, how did your father feel about this initially? So before 2021, when he filed the patent, when you first introduced crypto to your father, like was he immediately on board, or was that met with a little bit of a skepticism?
So okay, maybe I will talk about it earlier, but it has some past in Web3, let's say. And The moment I started to talk about this to my dad, he was a little bit hesitant. Then I said, "No, no, dad, it's not what you think. It's not a scam. It's not only about money. It's about technology." And I explained him, the whole, the whole, I would say, idea maze around the cryptocurrency world, the cryptography world, even. And he loved it because my dad he's pretty much against the central authority that decide everything. He had some bad experience in Web 2. He had physical business. He had international businesses before, and he had some struggle with governments, like taking his money because there is a lot of crook politicians, I believe. So yeah, when I explained to him that you can own Bitcoin in a wallet, in a cold wallet, and no one know, and no one can access to your Bitcoin, no one can ban you from Bitcoin. He loved that idea, and he started to invest in crypto because of me and that.
That makes a lot of sense, man. Like between like crooked politicians and really just when the government seems to turn their back on you, it feels it's oh man, it feels like you lost all of your support, right? And then to that, well, we turn to self sovereignty, and that really becomes one of the main things that empowers us all. And how about for you, man? Like when your dad came to you for that proposition, did you immediately align with his vision, or was it kind of a back and forth? Was there a journey of a further understanding and understanding what he really wanted to do?
Yeah, Ice, I understood nothing at the beginning. Like it's I was focused on my marketing stuff, and my dad come with this crazy idea of plugging some smart lock on blockchain and thinking, I was like, why, and and also my dad, well, I learned how to understand him because I always said that I think he was a genius, but it's not easy to understand a genius sometimes. You can see it with Vitalik. Well, my dad wasn't like Vitalik, but but he had his unique way of communicating. So yeah, I would say that it was back and forth, but eventually I always dreamed to do business with my dad, and dad has this family sense that I have as well, and yeah, I do, like in FriggHome we have family members inside I mean, we don't have a lot. I have my mom, basically. I have my mom. She's a very structured lady, and she handled the administration for me because well, I'm a structured person, but I hate paperwork, and my mom has experience in it, so she can help me with this.
You know what's crazy about what you said, that like that it's hard to work with and understand geniuses. I feel that too, man. And it's like I've always had this belief, Axel, that geniuses or extremely astute businessmen, there's always a layer on top of it, right? We just don't peg them for for the kind of people that are very easygoing or like very simple to sit down and have coffee with. You really have to break past that ice in order to truly understand who they are and how they think. But man, when you really get to that point, that is a whole nother layer of exploration and understanding, because getting to the way that their logic flow is, that really is just, it's like one of those giga brain moments, and you just feel like, wow, so this is how I think, and this is how these guys think. Like I need a lot of catching up to do. But with respect to everything that your father has kind of put you and the rest of you guys through, I think there's a lot to be learned by a lot of us here in Web3, and by extension, the rest of the world. And to that, in this segment, which I call Explain That Tweet, we took a dive on your social media, Axel, and immediately, this is the post that stood out to all of us here at Unfungible. So, that being said, would you like to share the story behind this post, my friend?
Yes, it's a very how can I say, emotional story. So
Mm.
yeah, but don't worry, I will keep my cool, obviously. So this is a picture with my dad. It's when we opened our physical office, and yeah, I remember this day like it was tomorrow. It's when the owner of the building just print our logo on the in the in in the SAS, and yeah, it was a specific day. So what happened is we struggled a lot. It was not easy to co-found this business. As I said, my father had a dream. He had a vision on making the future better, and he's a relentless person. Really, I have so much respect for him. What he did is he wants to understand everything. Exactly. He wants to understand everything and make something out of it. And yeah, he is obsessed. It's always the word I use for my dad. He's obsessed. And what happened is he started, to struggle to make this after he reached out to his son to gather a team. I mean, my dad was obviously actively working to gather a team as well, and me too on my side. And after struggling so much and having so many no's, because just to find a CTO, now we have like the best CTO we could ever dream of, but just to find a proper CTO, man, we did 50 interviews together, and every time we're like calling each other to make a feedback, and we're like, nah, this guy is not the right one, he doesn't have the right mentality. And yeah, after making 50 interviews, we finally find the good one. And it was even more hassle to raise some funds. There was a lot of story with our associate Elliot. It's a fantastic person, but we work closely together. And yeah, we struggled a lot. So this is a picture when we did our first tech seminar in 2019 in Paris. So yeah, and after struggling a lot, we get to raise some fund to make this vision reality. And after making this vision reality, everything was going smooth. We opened our physical offices, we hired a team, we set up a company, a subsidiary in India to help us scale the company. It's all in house, by the way. And yeah, so this is a great picture. This picture was caught in Paris, where I did a speech. I did the first and only no, not the only, but the first public speech of FriggHome, and it was actually a competition, a startup competition that we won. And yeah, we could clearly see that we have a huge potential. We won this competition, and I was so proud of our team. Um, so after this, Oh yeah, so this is another picture. It's like to image the struggle we went through. My father invested heavily in crypto, and as you know, Ice, 2021, the market crashed, and my dad lost about 80 to 90% of his crypto. So it was when you have to pay things I don't know, you have to pay things such as the patent fees, which is extremely expensive, guys. If you want to feel for a patent, be ready, because it's a six figures history at least. Depends which kind of patent, but in general, it's something like this. So be ready. And it was a little bit hard, but eventually his vision get to reality. And after all of this, it became very sad to me, because after raising funds, few months after, uh, I could see my dad has a lot of stomach pain. He went to a doctor and he diagnosed him. I mean, after doing some tests, obviously, he got diagnosed with a cancer. And even if my dad is like the most relentless person, and he fight when my dad fights, he fights till the end, and he really fight till the end. And yeah, in December, I had the hardest conversation of my life with him. He taught me many things. He basically, you know, hand me down the legacy, the vision, the family, even everything. And then he passed away. He passed away, and now I'm fighting for him. It was very hard. He died the 19th of December. He's still on the website because I want to pay my respect to him. I want people to recognize that he's the true innovator behind. I Yeah, this is a video when I say that I wanted to make my dad proud. And this is crazy that we shoot this documentary. We have the video. I never released it yet, and we did it before he got really, really, really bad. Yeah, we are so lucky to have shot this documentary. So yeah, my dad has, hand me down everything, and now I'm fighting to make his vision true.
Oh man, brother, I really appreciate the candor behind this, man. It's such an emotional and impactful story. And to your point, Axel, I know for sure that your father is proud of you. So thank you for sharing this, man. And to kind of get back into the flow of things, I know it's meant to be it's meant to be an inspirational bit, in which it is, but just hearing the trials and tribulations that you guys went through, hearing so many no's, you know, I like to think that we are strong people, but at the end of the day, human beings are fickle creatures. And in the face of like hearing so many no's, I think the average person probably would have just collapsed and given up. But what did you guys do to keep the journey going despite facing so many roadblocks and so many no's along the way?
Ah, man, that's a very, very good question. So my dad always taught me when I was a kid. My dad and my mom as well. She's a very strong woman. I have so much respect to her. So my parents always taught me that when you have an idea of what is worth and what is not worth, you have to fight for it. And I know it sounds very cliche, but it is the truth. And I believe that this is one of the biggest drive of humanity, whether it's political, whether it's businessly wise, whatever it is, you have to fight for it. If it's great, it's not going to be easy. And it wasn't easy, obviously, but we believed in ourselves, we believed in our vision, and we were ready to fight for, against everything and everyone, just to make it true. And I think this vision helped our investor to understand how passionate and how relentless we are. And we are relentless, man. I'm telling you, we are actually right now in April. My father passed away in December. My grandma is going through some terrible heart terrible condition right now, and I'm still in the office. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go in the office and I'm going to fight, because I don't fight only for my family. I fight for my investors. I fight for my future customers. I fight for my team, my employees, for everyone, and I will be so selfish if, because I feel sad or I feel bad, I don't want to work. So I truly believe that you just have to fight.
Yeah. When you have a passion for something, you got to fight for it, man. Bro, Axel, I have so much respect for you, man. I have.
Thank
I
you.
did not. I was not expecting the deep dive to turn this emotional. So now we both have to mentally reset ourselves. So grab a sip of that tea. I gotta grab a sip of this water. We gotta bounce back
You're
from
right.
that. Oh man, but this is this is the first time any founder has made me feel this way on stream, and the I guess the ice is cracking a little bit, but it's in a good way, in a good way. But
So, sorry, guys. Sorry.
no, it's all good. It's all good. Cracking in the ice, melting once in a while is good for the soul and heart. But Axel, man, I do want to get into this product line discussion that we have lined up, but just
Yep.
like person to like person to person, human to human. And I know how ironic that sounds, because I look like an AI on the screen right now. But from one
Uh,
guy, yeah, from
to me,
like
you're
one.
real, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But just like from one dude to the other, a couple of years ago, my grandma also passed away, and I got to be honest, man. Until that point, I never really lost a family member to this degree, and in a weird way, I've always had this weird dissonance and misconnection with my family. And because of that, I grew up with this entire mentality that even if I were to lose a family member, I'm gonna be immune to it. I'm gonna keep on doing the stuff that I have a passion for. It's not gonna get me down. I'm gonna keep going. And when it actually happened, I remember that evening so well. And I was on the airport, leaving the country, and this would turn out to be the final phone call that I would ever have with her. And I don't know what came over me, man. That entire trip, I went back to Asia to see her again. I was like, I was happy. I was like, just my jolly good old self. But for some reason, on that phone call, just the world came crashing down. It's like I had, like, in hindsight, it's as if I knew it was going to be the last conversation with her, And just on that taxi ride over to the airport, I I just broke down, man. I started crying like crazy, and I didn't want her to hear it in my voice, so I tried to hold that back during the conversation. But the moment that phone call ended, I just absolutely dropped it. I just absolutely lost it, and
I'm
it
sorry
was
for
very
you,
tough for
man.
me, man. It was very, very tough for me, and I had no idea that, like, I'm so tough on the internet, I can handle this no problem. But in the moment, I absolutely broke down. So I just wanted to kind of understand how you dealt with the whole situation. Like, despite everything happening, how do you keep your resolve and leadership, like, despite everything else that's happening with the family? Like, how do you lead a team when so many outside emotional factors are caving in on you like this, man?
First, thank you for sharing this story as well, man. It touched my heart. It brought so much memories, recent memories, unfortunately. So I got you. I understand. And yeah, to answer to your question, um, so trying to numb the pain is impossible, and I think it's not sane. Even you shouldn't do this. You should feel your pain. You're human. You get to live, right? And what I did is, when my dad died in the 19th of December, I I allowed myself. I sent a message straight away to my team. I called my two other co-founder, the CTO and the CPO Elliot. So I called them and I said, guys, my they knew about my dad condition. I said, my dad just passed away, and they were completely destroyed. And I told them that I'm not going to work for some times and I have to think about myself. So what I did, and I think everyone's going through hardship should do that because it helped me so much, is I allowed myself to do nothing and just cry and think and reflect on the situation for about 2 weeks. I was like, okay, around the 4th January, I will start working again. So from the 19th to the 4th, I was like, in this period of time, I just did nothing. I just cried and think. And after when I got back to work on the due date, it was no, it was not all good, obviously not. But my mental state was conditioned. It's like you are having your summer break from school, and when you come back in September, wherever you are in the world, but in France, it's in September. You go back to school, and you know that you have to go back to school, and it was the same in my mind, basically. And yeah, so I made a letter also for the investors, for the team, explaining them the situation. And before my dad passed away, as I said, that he handed me down everything, and he designed. He How do you say? It just made me the new CEO instead of him. So yeah, everyone knew that I'm the new boss. Let's say, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it was like this.
man, brother. Like speaking of such, I really do agree. Like trying to numb the pain is impossible, and like we, like the 5 stages of grief, right? Like DABDA, like what is it? It's it's disbelief or something. I can't remember I'm gonna butcher this like crazy. But I believe at first it's a disbelief or something like that, and then it becomes anger, right? And then
Yeah,
we go into bargaining, and then we fall into depression, and then we turn into acceptance. And I really do feel this is true, and it resonates with your story so well because like in a parallel world when it happened to me, like it really is about embracing and fully experiencing that pain, right? And to such an extreme degree too. But the point of it all is that in the future, when we can face and revisit this pain again and not react negatively, like that's when we know we have become stronger as a person. And I can see that in you, Axel, because like that strength, it carried you on in so many avenues of life. And it sounds really, it's the silver, I don't want to say I'm happy for it, but the silver lining of all this is that now you and I got to meet in the Web3 space. So I feel like if both of us, if we didn't experience these trials and tribulations of the past, then hey man, maybe we wouldn't be having this level of connection and this kind of conversation today. I really liked you in the Twitter space, but damn bro, today it's a whole different level after today's conversation. Oh
that's
man.
right. It's very genuine. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for, you know.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, brother. And you know what? Let's dive into a little bit about like, after the legacy talk is over, after the emotional stories. Let's talk about the present. Let's talk about today, man. So first of all, what was the initial inspiration for the Frig Home product line? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So we identified a lot of problem in the Web3 space, and I think that the first problem that we identify is that most of the Web3 projects they're not selling any use case; they're selling infrastructure. When you see Solana, for example, which has they have a good technology, right? But Solana, what they say originally, when you look at the history of Solana, they say, "Oh, we have like 100,000 transaction per second, while Ethereum has only that much." And it still goes down to that when you look at new L1. Of course, there is a new specific L1 like Hyperliquid, but there is a I would say that most of the project sells infrastructure, best transaction per second, cheapest cost per transaction, most dev tools, and so on. And basically, I would say that they build nice layer one, and after they try to get the builders to give utility on it.
Mhm.
For us, we inspired ourselves from this to do the exact opposite. Actually,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. We are creating utility first with FriggLiquid. Then we are going. Thank you. And then we are going to deploy the infrastructure and then attract the builders. Also, we'll be the first infrastructure that combines smartly software and hardware, meaning that later on, devs will be able to deploy hardware on our own infrastructure, open source infrastructure.
Hmm. Wow. Utility and product first. Whoa, haven't heard that one before in Web3 yet. That is amazing, brother. And I know again we discussed this during the space, but just to get some context, how did the name FriggHome come to be?
Yeah, my dad is the creator of it. I always say that he's been very bad with names in general, but this one was good. Like I think I told him 10 times like before. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. But this one sounded good. So the initial idea of FriggHome was the smart lock connected on the blockchain, and Frigg is the most important goddess of the Nordic mythology. She's the goddess of many things, such as fertility, agriculture, but also she's the goddess of home. So this is where we created Frigg Home. She's protecting your home.
Wow, the goddess of home. That's very interesting. Am I understanding the mythology different? Because I'm thinking Frigga. Is it a short form of Frigga, or is the goddess's name Frigg?
I believe it's a different god. I think, yeah. If you
Oh,
talk about, I think it's Freya or something like this.
mm,
You're referring to, no?
goddess of home. I'm gonna have to look that up after the stream is over. Now you got me interested in this. But yeah, before we actually get into before we get into anything, the deeper dive on the product, can you actually explain a little bit about how Frig Home works?
How FriggHome Home? Yeah, 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 sure.
Yeah.
So FriggHome is a full ecosystem, right? It's ecosystem combining DeFi, AI, blockchain technology, obviously, and IoT on the long term. So the promise would say, I would say, is we are bridging the digital realm into the physical world by making the blockchain tangible. In few years from now, you will be able to connect smart devices on our blockchain, which is important to protect your data, to also protect your devices from hackers. Because if you just look at what IoT is, IoT basically transform any kind of object into a computer. Like a Tesla is kind of a IoT. So because it becomes a computer, hackers can hack it, and after, imagine you're you're driving your Tesla and someone hack it and just like make you die basically. And this is why the development of the software for a smart car is very expensive, because they put the best cyber security developers. But anyway, coming back on Frigom. So yeah, also from there, all of this physical IoT thing, we could imagine some crossover, let's say, with DeFi, RWA, AI that can be directly materialized into the reality. Because yeah, we are making the blockchain tangible. Blockchain you can touch. I truly believe, personally, this is my personal thesis. I believe that if we did not reach mass adoption yet for blockchain, is for a real reason. Is that it's too abstract. You cannot touch it. You cannot really enjoy it. While when you think about the internet adoption, if you look at the chart of internet adoption, it really took off when there was the physical router that you can put in your home. So because people could understand, and even you would tell me, yeah, but what made mass adoption for internet is the utility of the apps, the software, the browsers, etc. I agree with you, but even those, they have a physical anchor in your head. Like when you open your phone, you see all the apps. This is on the cloud, but this is physical. It's a hardware like you have in your hand, and you can just click on it, right? So this is what we aim to do with Freedom. We aim to make the blockchain tangible and physical.
Hmm. I love that tangibility and also, dare I say, convenience. Because like just because something is physically tangible, like sometimes accessing it is very difficult, right? And the fact that you guys kind of combine both and plug it into something that if you're not a homeowner, then I think we all aspire to be homeowners. And also drawing from context from our Twitter space, It also works in office buildings. It also works in booths. So there's so much more into this. But guys, if you want a thorough breakdown of FriggHome's product and how it works, please check out our Twitter Spaces from last week, and you guys can find it actually on the FriggHome's social page on X. And you guys can also navigate to that. It should be at the bottom of your screen right now on the stream. That is x.com/FriggHome. But that being said, Axel, we plugged a lot about FriggHome both this week and during last week's space. But man, for just to get a kind of build this conversation to the next level, I do kind of want to revisit back onto the personal side of things because man, I think that is such a it was such an amazing moment, and I feel like our audience members can also resonate with more of your story. So, what do you say? Why don't we get down to a little bit thicker on that end?
Sure, man.
Let's do this, bro. Let's do this. So, about your personal journey in Web3. So, we talked about Axel in the past. Let's talk about Axel in the present, man. So, how did you personally find out about Web3 and what sparked that initial interest to join and explore the space?
It's a interesting question. I will tell you why. In 2017, I have one of my best friend from France that just called me and said, "Hey, bro, what if I tell you that we can buy anything we want on the online e-commerce shop, but we actually don't have to pay by card, neither cash, neither they would know who we are." And I was like, "Whoa, that sounds like freedom. What is this? Is it possible?" I said, "Yeah, it's called Bitcoin." I was like, "But how can you get Bitcoin online if you're not like paying with your card? It's something digital." And I said, "No, no, come and follow me." And so, like, we gathered, we went to a place, and in France, we have something that is called Pay Safe. We had, I don't know if it still exists, but it's something called Pay Safe Cash, which is you go to a like where they sell the cigarettes and the magazines. I forgot the name, like kind of a library,
Oh,
and
okay.
yep, and like a tobacco shop or something like this.
The convenience
And
stores almost.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. We have this kind of shop in France, and we we just like exchange money, and we receive a little ticket with a QR code on it. After that, we went on this website. I forgot the name, and we just have to type not the QR code, the password. Like we just type the password, and boom, the cash we gave to the person from the shop got transferred immediately from their bank account to the website, so we get the Bitcoin. And we got the Bitcoin from that. And after we went on the dark web and we bought some stuff, legal stuff, but we bought some stuff to see. It's more like back then. It was more on the dark web. On the normal web, you couldn't buy anything with crypto. So on the dark web, everything was crypto. So we
Hmm.
used Bitcoin and we received it, and we were like, "Damn, man, it's working!" So this was my first step into the Web3. Then in like after I got some scam. Oh, and little little story for that. The Bitcoin in 2017 was around $1,000 one Bitcoin, something like this, and we thought it was too late. What a mistake. So we bought like 0.8 or something like this, and anyway, so after that we I got some scammed. Like I started to invest a little bit more in the Bitcoin. Then I put it some Ponzi scheme, and I lost everything. I was like, damn, like it's just a scam. And again, after I started to invest more because I understood the tech behind. I didn't understand. I just understood that you can just make some purchase online and just like yes, just this. Back then I didn't know that it could be such a store of value. So yeah, and after I started to invest, and obviously in 2020, 2021, it took off. So it really spiked my interest even more. And I understood the whole world and was like, damn, this is such a passionating technology.
Hmm. That is an awesome story, man. Wow. Friend and friends starting to buy stuff online and then understanding the whole like decentralization and self sovereignty aspect of Bitcoin. This reminds me of a fake quote from Batman. It's either that it's either you have the guts to start exploring the dark web with crypto, or you descend into madness and start buying pizza with Bitcoin. So I'm glad, man. I'm glad, I'm glad this is the funnel that we went down, because it could have gone real bad if it was the other way around. Let me ask you this, man. When you guys made that pivot, right? What would you say is the most challenging thing about making the move to Web3 initially?
You mean for me, like when I switched from Web 2 to Web 3
Yeah, yeah.
professionally? Okay. Yeah. So I would say that the codes are so different. You know, in Web 2, there is not that. I always been a big fan of memes, but in Web 2, it's not so much like this. But yeah, I worked. I tried to make some DeFi protocol on Solana back then with a team, but unfortunately, like I was with the wrong team, so they just rugged me. And the initial investors, like we raised some love money. It was very small, and yeah, so they just rugged it. Fortunately, I had a little bit on my wallet, so I could like refund everyone and keep nothing for myself. So I just lost months of work.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's something pretty bad. I still have the names and I still have the proof, but I'm not going to share. It's back in 2021. This and later on, we created FriggHome, that is like even more. There is like a much bigger impact in the world than a DeFi protocol on Solana. I do believe. So yeah, the switch was not hard for me since I have been in the space for some times, but it was definitely hard for my dad, for example, which like
Hmm.
he has like he had like more than 30 years of experience in Web 2 and physical businesses and things like this. So I was more like the guy that would pitch to things and talk to people than him. He was more like the genius, behind the curtain.
Hmm. Man, that is a difficult conversation for sure, because I mean we talk about this in our space very often, and it's such that having these conversations with non Web3 natives, aka normies, these conversations do not go well at all. So I can only imagine how that would be like trying to pitch this idea to a genius, mind you, but also with 20 plus years in the Web 2 world. Like, oh man, that is an uphill battle if I've ever seen one. Axel. So okay, kudos to you for sticking it out. So I mean, I kind of have an inkling for this one already, but if we were to dive further, can you tell us the main reason why you are so passionate about decentralization?
Yeah, so I've been okay. I will go further into this. One day, I remember I had just turned 18 years old, and there was this leftist party in France that was like very popular among the young people there because they had seductive ideas. And all my friends were talking about this and things like this. And me, I've been raised with a family that is much more capitalist. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And one day I came to my dad and I said, yeah, I think I will vote for this party. And my dad looked at me and said, sit down, son. They're communist. He said, "Well," he literally, literally, he looked at me and said, "Sit down. You're a communist. You want to be rich, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want to give everything you own to crook politicians?" And I said, "No." I said, "Don't vote for them then." you know, and and so yeah, I've been raised with a libertarian dad, and he always like explained me that when you create a company in France, you don't know yet, but you have a major shareholder because the taxes are so high. And uh, and yeah, so all my life I've been raised with the free market ideology. And uh, and yeah, even my family is originally not rich at all. Like really, like when you look at my grandparents, or immigrate, my great grandparents are immigrate from Italy, Germany after the Second World War. Like we literally had nothing in my family. Even my dad, because he's an entrepreneur, there was ups and downs. So some years we had everything, some other years we had nothing, and I had to deal with this. So I believe that freedom comes responsibility. I'm a pro freedom, and I could find this freedom back in Web3 space, like decentralization. Like if you're irresponsible, you just like plug your brains on the wrong smart contract, you didn't make your research, maybe you're gonna get drained. But if you plug it on the right contract, smart contract, maybe you're gonna get an airdrop. So this is free market, like you're rewarded with your actions.
Hmm. I really do understand that mentality, and there's a reason why everybody is not immediately on board, and it's not just about like, oh, don't you see the innovations in our tech? It's not really about that, because just like you said, Axel, freedom comes with responsibility, and the truth of the matter is that not everyone is responsible yet. Eventually, maybe, but the idea is that if you are someone that is irresponsible, then yeah, maybe centralized or custodial service providers can serve these folks better, right? But for those of us that have come a longer way and we do seek out that self sovereignty with responsibility on the back end, yeah, freedom is absolutely what we want to do. So, having said that, coming so far into the space now, Axel, what would you say would be your mission in Web3?
My mission is to make blockchain physical. I do believe blockchain, as you said, like the crypto bros would say, "Don't you see our tech is so good?" And I agree with them. The tech is so good. We have a lot of things. We could literally implement ZK in some financial things, and so I mean ZK is so much more. But I mean, like we just to show that we have a lot of the best technology. Cryptography is obviously. It's not old, but it's, let's say, in computer science, it's old science. It's not only from Bitcoin creation; it's older than that. And I believe that the blockchain industry could take the cryptography and make it tangible, but not enough to reach mass adoption. So my goal is to bring transparency, make it a better future for everyone, protect data for everyone. And yeah, I mean, I do believe that we have amazing technology, but we lack use cases. And my goal is to provide use cases so we can finally reach mass adoption.
I love that, brother. Providing use cases, making the blockchain physical, and of course, transparency and traceability. All the main facets that we love to see and hear from our dear founders here in Web3. So thank you so much for that, man. And of course, to close things off, please let our dear viewers know. Let everyone that's watching this video right now or in the VOD, let them know what you got going on in your life right now, Axel.
Wow, in my life.
Yeah.
Well, my life is, I think this is what most people get wrong. They think that when you're an entrepreneur, it's so cool. They imagine like 50 Shades of Grey type things or Iron Man, but it's not like this really. Like most of my days are kind of boring. I just wake up, I do my morning routine, like the Brian Johnson morning routine. And after I just go to work in our physical offices. After I work, I come back, I'm so tired, and I do a space with you. And it's a pleasure because you're an amazing host. And after I just like probably like watch some podcasts and maybe finish some work I have on the pipe and yeah, go to bed.
Well, there's a little bit of a hidden alpha in that answer, actually, because you mentioned that. So, first of all, morning routine. Not that many people actually can say they have a static and effective morning routine. And even if they do, usually it falls apart within a month or 2 months. You guys know exactly who you are, by the way. Those of you that make New Year's resolutions, we're talking to you. But the fact that you have a very a consistent morning routine and you have like a physical office, that is actually a green flag for stability. And I really like that. People don't really read into these lines. People don't actually think about this, but man, in Web3, people are all over the place, and I understand this is a matter of being on the internet. We tend to show the best versions of us on the internet, right? So the fact that you have this, what you may call boring, but for everyone else, it really does exude stability and maturity, and I absolutely love that, Axel. And before we close things off, if our audience members want more information and more information on both FriggHome and Axel, where can they go?
They can go on X. I think you can just like follow this account or follow my account. You can do both. Also, I have a private. I mean, it's not private; it's public, but it's like you have to find the link. I have a Telegram channel. I think it's called Axel Gaubert backroom, something like this. So let me look. It's called Axel G Room. Yeah, Axel G Room. So this is something, if you type it on Telegram, you will find my private channel where I've just post some things about reflection and what's going on in FriggHome and what's going on in my life, basically. So if you want to like be closer to me, you can do this. Otherwise, you can just follow my X account and FriggHome account, obviously.
That's awesome, man. So that, again, that is Axel G Room on Telegram. But if anything else, the links are, I mean, you see it right now at the bottom of your screen. Make sure you guys are following Axel on both his own account and also on the FriggHome account. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to mark the end of our stream for today. So once again, thank you so much, Axel, for taking the time and sharing that backstory, man. You know, of all the founders I've gotten the luxury to speak with in the space, I said it before and I'll say it again. I've never felt this way with any backstory. So it truly, truly means a lot to me, Axel. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And hopefully our audience members can resonate and enjoy that story as well. And speaking of so, thank you guys in the audience. Thank you so much, chat, for helping us with all those likes, comments, and retweets. We really do appreciate all the love and support. And one last time, make sure you guys are following the FriggHome house account in addition to Axel's house account. And remember to turn on those notifications so you guys don't miss out on any of the latest updates. But until then, this is going to be Ice and Axel signing off, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.